So welcome everybody to today's video. I'm very pleased to be joined by Mr. Karl Lehmann, who's been a friend of mine now for a long time, and super excited to have this conversation with you today, Karl, for that reason, because we've done quite a lot of stuff together over the years, and I can't wait to tell everybody about it and talk about it and just get it out there for everybody to know what we've been up to and what we've been doing. So just for now, just give us a kind of everybody a brief introduction for those that don't know you, who you are, who are you?
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you watch this. My name is Karl Lehmann. I am the author of the best-selling book, Dream It, Plan It, Live It. And basically in my career, I head up a financial life planning practice. If you want name, rank and serial number, I'm a chartered wealth manager, certified financial planner. And I live on the south coast of Devon, in the sunny south coast of Devon, as we record this today.
Fantastic. The weather down there is always amazing.
No, it's not.
Very jealous about, in comparison to the Midlands where I am. It's always your videos drive me insane. Always walking down the beach and
yeah,
so jealous.
there is that. But come October, November, December, there's a reason why Devon is so green. And it's because there's a lot of rain in October, November, and December, typically, in my experience.
Yeah, fantastic. So we kind of first met, was it 2016, 2017, something like that?
Well, we've been down here almost 5 years, and it was probably the better part of 5 years before we moved here. So it's the best part of 10 years, I would say now, yeah.
It is that. And it's when I was doing still am doing my personal training, but I used to come around your house and give you a bit of a training session, should we say, rather than a beating.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, used to rock up with all your bags and your gear and get me running around the garden and trying to breathe through an orifice in my body that is not meant for breathing through. But I used to love it because we used to often sort of finish up, didn't we, with some pad work and sort of boxing gloves. And I used to do karate when I was late teens, early 20s. So that kind of tuned into that. So I used to like trying to get my own back on you at the end of the session after you had thrashed me for, a good while in the garden. In fact, one of the guys who lived opposite could hear you shouting instructions to me, and he said, "What the hell are you doing in your garden on a Monday at this time?" I said, "I have this personal trainer comes around who like thrashes me." He said, "That sounds amazing, Carl."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, it is afterwards." I said, "But like during the process, it's quite hard to breathe."
Great fun. I took advantage of your grit determination through, I think, trying to punch my head off, I think. But yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, you left me. You went to Devon.
Yep.
But our work didn't stop. We had a bit of a pause, didn't we?
Correct.
And then I kind of changed the way that I kind of worked a little bit, because I did a lot of study around behavior change, habit reforming, the psychology behind fitness and wellness and that sort of stuff, and that tweaked your interest when we were talking about it, and you jumped on what I call now the 5% coaching program. Just give us a little bit of a background of where you were just before you started that program.
Well, I think we moved down, easy for me to say, we moved down here to Devon, and we got a certain set of results by training with your good self before leaving. And then there is a certain amount of the Devon lifestyle, which is really, really nice, cream teas and the like, and starting to put on a few extra pounds that I hadn't anticipated. But also there was a transitional phase of my life where, truth be told, we moved down here. I was age 49 when we moved down here, and it was a toe in the water at thinking about, shall I retire? Because I got my freedom fund intact. That's what we do. We help people construct their freedom fund so they can make work optional, which is great. But actually what then happened was I was kind of meandering through this kind of wilderness of thinking, well, hang on a minute. It sounds all very nice and dandy, getting up in the morning, dropping Jacob off at school, taking the dog for a great long walk, grabbing a coffee and some breakfast and eating on the seafront. But by week 7, week 8 of doing that, I was thinking, holy cow, I need to be doing something bigger and bolder in my life. And it was that kind of moment, I think, really, where you reached out and said, well, this behavioral change program is more about the kind of holistic person.
Yeah.
And as you know, in terms of our financial life planning model that we do, we're not your typical financial advisors who focus on selling products. What we do is work with people at a from the ground floor up level, really, in terms of
Yeah.
you are a whole person, and money is an energy. It allows you to do stuff, good or bad, but equally you need your health also to enjoy your wealth,
Yeah,
which is
100%.
how you ended up writing a chapter in my latest book, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Go on, show us the book. Let's get it
So
out
the
whilst
latest
everyone's
book,
mentioning
which
it.
was here we go, we can get it across the microphone. Money, Mind, Meaning. Rather staggeringly, that was the second book that I published, which became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. But if you remember, Dave, I asked you to write a chapter in that because actually having your mental health and from a coaching perspective, everything kind of lined up in a row, but then working with people like us, getting your financial ducks lined up in a row,
Yeah.
that's all very well and good. But what if your health and well-being isn't there? So you can have all the money in the world, but if if your knees are knackered and your hips are shot, you're not gonna you're not gonna enjoy your old age, are you?
Yeah, that's
So
it.
that's where we got you involved. And if you remember, you wrote a chapter in the book, and you also spoke at our annual company meeting last year as well, which was really cool to have you
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed both of those things, and writing the book. I think it was when we worked together in during the coaching program that we discovered how similar our
Yeah.
working lives are, and how we work together, albeit with completely different fields. And you're right. I think you say it quite a few times. There's no point in being the richest person in the graveyard type thing. You've got to, without your health, what have you got? Well, the answer to that's nothing, of course. So yeah, to be asked to write a chapter in the book was an absolute privilege of mine. And for those of you that read it, please listen to it, because it's literally gospel for what I tell everybody that I work with. And speaking at your annual event was just incredible. Any opportunity to tell people how we go about things here at Visa is just absolutely fantastic. So I'm just going to twist it back to the
Yeah.
program, because you took a lot away from it. And just tell people a little bit about how you found the structure of the program the first time round. Little teaser, the first time round that you did
The first time around, I was working one-on-one with your good self. And I guess really there was a few transformational points as I reflect back now. I think it's one of those things that understanding what's important to you, what's really important to you, what your hopes are, what your dreams are. We subscribe to that as in the terms of coaching that we do with people
it.
as well. But actually, that kind of understanding of what is right for you and only you,
Yeah,
and then you empowering me, and also cajoling, motivating, kicking me up the proverbial, that accountability just really helped me embed a few things that I needed to embed into my life. But also understanding that actually you see what I call things on the internet. I mean, our world, we call it the financial porn. Everybody reads something on a website, and all of a sudden they think they're an authority to do with anything to do with finance. It's not the way of the world, is it? I mean, how much stuff do you read now on the internet about training programs,
oh,
health, diet? And it's hard to discern. I don't know about you, Dave, but I find it hard to discern what is the valuable stuff, what
yeah,
is the rest of the stuff that you can just leave behind, because there's no evidence for it at all. There's no science behind it at all that kind of backs it up. And I think you helped me understand that actually some of the things I'd been sort of struggling with in my head, you kind of unlocked those, and maybe understand what was right for me, what
yeah,
was the right exercise regime for me, what was the right way to control my intake of food and drink from my lifestyle point of view. So yeah, it was a very much of a personal, bespoke understanding what's important to me process versus the, well, here's an exercise regime, I'm going to dip everybody through the same regime. It's very tailored.
yeah. I'm really pleased you pulled that out, to be honest, because we pride ourselves on pulling that out of people and working with individuals on their journey, for want of a better word, because
Sure.
it is unique to everybody. And this is a problem with the fitness industry. I always say, we'll tell you the truth about health and fitness,
Mm.
because there's so much stuff, information, if you like, out there. You touching it. You Google how do I lose weight or how do I do X, Y, and Z, and you get bombarded with all this crap, shall we say,
Yeah,
from other people, other trainers, other eventualities that confuses the whole situation.
yeah,
And you don't know whether you're pushing or pulling or you're supposed to
yeah,
look at that, or it's confusing. And I think we try and simplify the process, and figure out between us, working with
yeah,
you, what's going to work.
yeah,
Small steps in the right direction
yeah,
always lead to the biggest of outcomes. And I have to say
yeah.
that every day, I think, because it's true.
Yeah.
And it was great working with you during the first program. But then I kind of teased you with it, doing it again, didn't I?
You did. Yeah.
We did do it differently. It wasn't just one on one again, but it was a group of guys together this time, which I think sparked some
Correct.
interest.
Yeah.
And again, what would you say was different between obviously working one on one and then being in the group environment?
Um, I think the big thing about the group environment is when you're working in a group with, in my case, it was men of a certain age with a certain sort of mindset. You learn possibly almost as much, I think, from listening to their insights as well as listening to obviously what you're teaching us and educating us on. But sometimes I think we can all have our little gremlins, our that self-talk in the back of our brain that's
Mm,
trying to undermine what we do. And sometimes I think we can all feel that actually that's unique to me, and only I have those negative thoughts or behavior that isn't sort of really affirming what I need to do. But when you listen to other powerful, in my case, powerful men who are running their businesses and listening to some of their insights, some of their challenges, that was a real well, two things that are happening. A, you feel like you bond with those people really, really well because they're just like you. And all of a sudden you think, do you know what? I had that thought. So I'm not a muppet for having that thought because he's had that thought as well. And actually, he's a great guy. It's just the way the brain is wired. It's just that little chimp brain that's like
yeah, that's it.
chattering away at the back of our head. So for me, I think it was really, really useful also to have that support network because you set up a little WhatsApp group and
Yeah,
we'd all post little things in there. We've listened to this podcast. What do you think? And it was a nice little support structure, I would say.
yeah, and we had a giggle in there as well, didn't we?
Oh, it was good fun. Yeah, yeah,
We had a laugh, and that's what I like to try and do, make it fun, enjoyable, and try and coax that out of people, because the process of losing weight, getting fit and healthy can be quite a challenge if you approach it
yeah,
in a kind of negative mindset. But if we approach it in a nice, systematic way, that we are going somewhere and have fun while doing it as well. It really helps people along, I find, and hopefully you kind of took that from it. As a result of the program, where do you kind of find yourself now? What did you take away from it, and how's that changed things for you moving forward?
So I think now I'm better able to spot those things that I do and we all do from time to time and understand that actually that's not going to help me longer term. But I feel better equipped to kind of nip it in the bud. So, little things resonate in my head, like when you talked about food being fuel. So sometimes if we've had, I don't know, a weekend, we've eaten a pile of rubbish over the weekend. I kind of get suddenly think, yeah, that wasn't a smart decision there, was it? That food wasn't great fuel for my brain, great fuel for my body. And then I'll have a conversation with my wife, Sarah, and say, we really need to get back on eating the rainbow. And, she understands what that means, a colorful plate that gives us great, nourishing food. And equally, when I see people running the park runs and all the rest of it, I don't feel guilty anymore as I used to by thinking,
Yeah,
"Oh, I'm a bit overweight. I need to be getting on that, doing the park run." For me, a different type of training is right for me. So it's mainly doing sort of weights, which I love doing, bag work, which we alluded to earlier on, and then my cycling. And for me, I'm able to manage that in the best way possible, and I can fit it into my schedule that kind of suits me. I don't feel now that unless I go to the gym for 2 hours and I'm doing this, and depriving me of that.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. I understand that it's the little things that make a big difference. If I want to have a beer on a Friday night, I'll have a beer. I might even have two or three, so long as I've nipped tucked throughout the week to be able to
Right.
do that, because otherwise life's just miserable. Does that answer your question there, Dave?
Yeah, it does, mate. Yeah, and it's all about finding the right balance, isn't it? And that's what people I like to try and get across to people is it's not about giving up life as you know, it's about making it work for you and fit in. So if you've got a social life, well, let's keep it,
Yeah,
and we can work around it and everything else.
yeah.
Please, you do still have your beer, shall we say, on a Friday night. It's important, to wind down and everything else. Anything in moderation is finding that balance for you. That's excellent, mate. So, what would you kind of say to somebody who's perhaps thinking about starting or kind of sat on the fence, do I, don't I? What would you say to them?
What would I say to them? I think when you consider any development program like yours, you have to understand that actually what you're doing is making an investment into yourself. It's not a cost; it's an investment. Where will you be in 2, 3, 5, 10 years time if you don't change your behavior? So if you're sitting on the fence listening to this right now, I would say embrace it, because the only downside is that your fitness is going to go up, your understanding of nutrition is going to go up. At the end of the day, like we said earlier, without your health, it doesn't matter how much money you got in the bank. It doesn't matter how much money, time you've got on your side, unless you've got a body that can actually allow you to do things, then you got nothing really, have you? So I would say if you're sitting on the fence, get off the fence, get the boxing gloves on, and give Dave a good pasting. That's what I'd be saying.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, mate. And just as a bit of a closer, how would somebody get in contact with you around what you do, and how would they get that copy of the awesome book that we kind of well, I wrote a chapter in. I was going to say I wrote together. That'd be a lie. I wrote a chapter. There's quite a lot of chapters in there. Money, Mind, and Meaning.
You can find all information out about us by visiting the website dreamitplanetliveitbook.com. I'll just say that again: dreamitplanetliveitbook.com. On there is some super cool free training that you can get a better insight, and there's all the information on there about how you can reach out and connect with me or other people in my team. Yeah, love to hear from anybody that might be interested.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Cole. It's been so good speaking to you today, and I can't wait to see where our next venture kind of takes us because we're not done yet, mate.
No, 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 no.
And
Just the beginning.
it's the beginning. It's the beginning. But yeah, thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you all soon, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Cheers.